Welcome to Be the Medicine podcast, pathways to healing and liberation through ancestral intelligence. I am your host, Renee Iya Bola Ayelagbe Egbesina, Tenowawe Oshundu Mola. I am the daughter of Maureen and Dr. Richard Smith and Stephen Tyson. I am the granddaughter of Brodell Anderson, Cecil Smith, Violet, and Jacob Chevalier. I am the great-granddaughter of Lucia Andrews Tyson, Vickers Tyson, Hilda and Eddie Benoit, and Dorothy Simon. We are super excited to welcome you back to Season 2. And this season, we're going to be exploring the truths that shape our lives, our communities, and our legacy. So today, we're going to start with a reminder. And still we rise. And still we rise. Because no matter the noise, the chaos, the distractions, or the challenges, our ancestors are watching, the children are watching, and your presence matters more than you may realize. I had a conversation with someone today about the understanding that us, Black people, collectively and individually, as we are currently in this present moment, were the future versions or the future visions of our ancestors. When they were dealing with the toil and trouble, their minds had enough understanding about the future that they wanted that they became the architects for that. And we are living that vision. Who we are, what we do, how we show up in the world is what they prayed for, what they understand the world could look like, what their family legacy could look like. And so I want us to remember, specifically in this time, that all the chaos that's happening in the world, we still have to remember to be architects. We are the architects for the next generation. And if we lose sight of what it means to literally visualize what the future could be and what it can look like, future generations are going to be lost. This is the power that our ancestors yielded. This is what people don't understand because they've been trying to get rid of us for over 400 years, and still we rise. We have to remember that even in the chaos, one of our jobs is to be visionaries for the future. We are the architects. If we don't take that job seriously, the future generation will not have anything to be present in. So I wanted to talk today on the topic of "And Still We Rise." Because what we're experiencing today being February 1st, 2026, we are having a full moon in Leo. We are at the beginning of Black History Month. Happy Black History Month, 365 days, but this will be the month that it will be oversaturated. Because just because you want to erase it from the billboards and the calendars and the internet doesn't mean that it doesn't exist in our hearts and that we are responsible for telling those stories. We are responsible for uncovering new legacies that we need to celebrate and that we need to share with our children, because this is the time that we are being architects. So I want to talk a little bit again about the topic, "And Still We Rise." And the first caveat that I want to talk about is that the noise is real. The noise that is happening in the world right now is so real. But we must understand the energy of what this noise is. It is not energy that is in sync with the frequency that the earth is actually showing up with. It is not in sync with the frequency that the earth is sharing right now. It is creating chaos and trying to stop energy that is already moving. And one of the reasons that we know that it's just chaos and noise, because even with all of the noise that's happening, there are good things that are coming and bubbling underneath. So I want us to pay attention and know this one truth. A bully is going to bully. We see you for who you are. We see you for what you do. We get it. We name it. We move on. We don't have to get stuck in what the bully is trying to do. And one of the reasons why it's important for us to understand this at this time is because many people are going to project their fears, insecurities, and pain onto you. Because even with the noise outside, they're noticing that you are walking with light. And so I ask you to make sure that you are doing what you need to do to keep your light burning. And sometimes it requires you to not be out in the street. Sometimes it requires you to take the time to make sure that you're doing your meditation. Sometimes it requires you to take some time that you're in isolation and you're actually allowing the downloads to happen. Because no matter what they are projecting, we must understand that that is not you. And because that is not you, it is not your destiny. So we need to continue to tap in and to remember to quiet the noise. Again, tap in and remember to quiet the noise. When you get feelings of someone is trying to project their fears on you, someone is trying to project their insecurities on you, they may not know half the things that you know, take that moment. You don't have to waste your energy arguing with them. You don't have to waste your energy proving your point, because your very presence proves the point. And it is okay to walk away. And they will not know what is happening, because in that moment, you begin to what? Create the architecture for a new understanding of who you are. You don't owe a bully anything. Nothing. Because once a bully realizes they can no longer bully you, what do? They sit down. So I want you to really pay attention to silence in the chatter. I want you to pay attention to how you breathe and how you center yourself. I want you to pay attention to where in your body feels uncomfortable when you get around certain energies, and pay attention to how to take care of yourself, how to take care of your family, how to use your home as a place of solace, as a place of refuge, as a place that continues to allow for the frequency that is actually out in the earth at this time to continue to germinate and to continue to help you move into your next phase of existence. Because this external chaos that's happening is literally someone fighting not to go down. Right? You ever seen somebody who's flailing and you know they're about to just fall out, and they do a whole lot of stuff and then they fell and they slipped and all that stuff happens? That's what's happening, right? And this behavior is not even compared to the development of a child in their first 7 years. This is just bully behavior. And so we call a spade and we keep moving. Because there is nothing that is going to help us achieve our goals and see a better future if we put our energy into this. So our first part is to quiet the noise. Stay focused, stay centered, stay peaceful, pull on the things that bring you joy, create opportunities to bring you joy, create opportunities to learn new things, create opportunities for you to create new pathways in your brain around the way in which you see your future. Not just your future, but the future of yourself, your family, your people, your community, whatever that is, whatever that vision is. You got to hold on to it, and you got to make sure in this time and in this timeline that we are acting as architects. The next thing to think about is we need to remember who's watching. When we rise above the noise, we do more than survive. Our ancestors are watching. They see how we navigate adversity, how we honor our power, and how we rise with integrity. Why? Because we are showing up now as the vision of themselves that they had been. We're living in their vision. So they understand, and they will continue to support us as we continue to vision forward. The other group that is watching us is the children. The children are watching. They're watching to understand what it means to rise, to fight with intention, and to claim their own space. They're learning how to regulate their nervous system by watching how we're regulating our nervous system. They're learning how to become so invested in our own visions by watching us become invested in our own visions. They're watching us show up, even when we don't feel like it. But it creates an understanding about what it means to be integral and what it means to be of community, because they see us show up. We have to know that the children are watching. And that if we want to see a future of young people understanding how to be architects, we got to be doing it now so that they can watch us. That they're learning the lessons, not because we're telling them, but that we're doing and showing them. I saw a clip yesterday where a father was talking about the fact that his son came up to him and said, "Hey, Dad, I don't know how to pump gas." And the father was like, I'm totally confused, because every time I go to the gas station, yes, I'm sure that you see me pumping gas, but there wasn't an intention about showing him how to pump the gas, right? Because we live in a day and an age where our young people, usually when they're traveling with us, are completely absorbed into their technology, right? Into the phones and the iPads and the headphones on. And so they're slightly detached already from reality. And so if we don't make an intentional effort to bring them back into reality in the real world, right, they don't build those skills. And so he was talking about, and I thought about it as well, and I talked to a client about it this morning, how when we were children and we would stop at the gas station, the first thing that the children would do is because we didn't have all of these different devices, we would jump out the car. Our parents, especially my father, would be like, "Please don't run between cars." I remember my brother jumping out the car and say, "Hey, Daddy, can I pump the gas?" And he would go through the process of, watching my father go inside and pay for it, coming back outside, opening up the place where the gasoline is. My father would have to help him pull the whole thing up. He'd put the nozzle in. He'd flip the switch, and he would just watch it until all of the numbers went down, and he would know when it stopped. My father would teach him how to listen for the sound. Then I would get in the front and I would help with cleaning the windows. Back then, you had your squeegee that used to be in water. You didn't have to wait for somebody to do it. It would just be waiting there. And so I'd practice cleaning the windows while we're in that process. We take those things for granted. And we forget that sometimes in our busy lives, because we're doing so much, that it's gonna be faster if we just do it. But we forget that when we were in a timeline where we were moving slower, the intention around everything that we did was a life lesson. So yes, don't make an assumption that your child understands how to pump gas, right? Don't make an assumption that your child understands what it means to light a fire. These are small things that are also a part of our survival that we've forgotten. We got it because of the intention that our parents put into connecting with us and understanding us and making sure that we were able to do these things. So the children are watching, and they're watching what we're doing. They're watching what ruffles our feathers. They're watching how we calm our nervous systems, but they're also watching what we do and how we invite them into the space that we're in so that they can experience as well. And so it's important that we begin to do this with our young people. We are no longer in a time where we can depend on anyone and any other entity but ourselves to ensure that our children know what to do. And I mean know what to do on all fronts. Know what to do when it comes to code switching, know what to do when it comes to being in the kitchen, know what to do when it comes to first aid, know what to do when it's time for them to go into action. All those things require us to be present enough to ensure that the children are seeing and watching us, and they are also being invited in to these experiences. Once we have established that the children are watching, we also can call on our ancestral knowledge to help us know what they need. Understanding what type of learner, what kind of child you have, helps you to understand how can I best support them, right? Because our kinesthetic learners are very different than our auditory learners. Our auditory learners are very different from our visual learners. And so being able to pull them in helps us to understand how their brain is working. And I recently saw a study from a neuroscience researcher that said this whole thing about left brain and right brain is actually inaccurate. And so we pigeonholed our children into thinking that they are something they're not, when all of it is learned behavior. That the brain creates new pathways based on the experiences that we have. And that opposite sides of the brain actually operate opposite sides of the body. So when we're thinking about right brain, left brain, creativity, logic thinking, all of that, that really means nothing if we don't look at the whole. And if we don't give them the experience that they need in order for them to be able to put that somewhere and pull it forward at some time. So we're in a space and a time where in real life is more important than any other time. It doesn't mean that they don't get to do what they love. It doesn't mean that they don't get to be on with their friends, but it's important that in real life really happens, and that we take the time to begin to call on our ancestral intelligence to know how to prepare this next group of young people who are going to now be the architects of our future, right? That's how it works. That we begin to share truths with them, and real truths, and let them ask questions and have the conversations and teach them about their ancestors and what their ancestors did. I love being able to take some time and sit at the feet of elders. So when I had the chance to study with Dr. Fukuyao, he put us through a whole process of just understanding our lineage, and that to understand the languages that our forefathers spoke. How many generations did that language come forward? From what countries were they from? What were their occupations? Because I've spoken about this before. Sometimes you may feel like, oh yeah, I'm just a teacher, right? And I just feel really called to be a teacher. But you hadn't gone back in your actual lineage to realize your grandmother was a teacher, your great-grandmother was a teacher, your great-great-grandmother was a teacher, your great-great-great-grandmother was a teacher. I think there's something there, right? And so being able to see the full understanding of someone's lineage through all of the components that made them. What were the spiritual practices that they practiced? When did those spiritual practices change? When did they migrate from one place to the other? Why did they migrate? What's the story behind that? These are really important things to share with our young people, because this is the history. This is the reason why our history will never die. Because they pull them down from billboards and train stations and so on, that doesn't mean it dies. The reason why it's still here is because we have always had ways of sharing this information, even if it was through the quilts. And your family would have a quilt and everyone would add a piece, and there was someone in the family whose job was to remember who added that piece, where they were, what they sung, who were they married to, how many children did they have. This has always been the way that we've recorded our history. So we have to go back to ensuring that we are sharing our histories with our young people, and that as we are visioning forward, we're also pulling from the past. The third piece, we have to make a plan with the intention of getting the bag. I said it. You have to it can't be this thing of, I'm gonna be rich one day, but you have put no action towards what that's gonna look like. And what is rich in comparison to what? There has to be a plan. I want to have, and this is my daily prayer, I want to have enough resources to be able to uplift my family, uplift my community, and uplift the world. Very clear about what that looks like for me. Because it's not about holding and hoarding money. This is a totally different conversation and a totally different podcast. We'll talk about wealth, abundance, and that frequency. But because it's reciprocity, it actually is not hoarding, which is one of the reasons why the world is going to hell in a handbag right now. It's really about having a plan and understanding the frequency of that plan and of the outcome of being able to have the resources that you need in order to do the work that you've been destined to do. Rising isn't about showing up. It's about action. Make a plan. Define your goals. Identify the tools, resources, and allies that will help you move forward. And yes, eventually get the bag. Whether it means securing your financial freedom, building your platform, or simply claiming the life you deserve, it is time to act with intention. Remember, rising without a plan leaves you at the mercy of circumstance. It leaves you at the mercy of the environment that is happening without you having a goalpost to focus on. Many people are, no matter what is going on in the world, they're still doing what it is they said they're going to be doing. It doesn't mean we don't talk about it. It doesn't mean that we aren't bothered by it. It just means that, again, that where do we start? We have understood the truth that the bully is going to bully. We understand the truth that it's time for us to quiet the noise, because the light that is needed right now is necessary, and we can't do it battling this. We've got to do it with a plan. When you have a plan, rising with the plan makes you unstoppable. It literally makes you unstoppable. And I say that when we think back, and I talked about the fact that we are standing here as the vision of our ancestors, right? We're standing here because they were sitting, envisioning, and being the architects of the future that we're sitting in right now. And when you think about it, they were very clear. Harriet Tubman was very clear about what her destiny was and how she was going to do it. She had a plan. This is how the plan worked. And she continued to do that plan until she decided to retire. Many of the entrepreneurs, many of the inventors, again, we're in Black History Month, y'all, so we got to make sure that we're pulling this information forward. Many of them were committed to the plan and the action that we're bringing forward. To the point of recently, I learned that the creator of AI, or one of the creators of AI, and one of the creators that they base AI of right now is Dr. Blackwell, who was a Black man who did the work of bringing artificial intelligence forward. And one of the things that they do in tech, which I didn't know before, is every year they have a new chip. And so the chip that is going into production this year is called the Blackwell chip. And so we don't get to hear these things, right? We're hearing, again, the rhetoric of you haven't contributed, you haven't done. But to be quite honest, we've been contributing to the point of where there is no thing that you can see in the world that exists and it doesn't have our ancestral mark on it. So you want to make sure that you have a plan, and you want to be intentional about that, and how you pair this intention with resources, either people, places, or things that can allow you to get to the goalpost. And then once you get to the goalpost, it's about sustaining it, right? And still we rise. Once we get to the goalpost, it's not that we get to the goalpost and we fall apart. Is we get to the goalpost and then we have created a plan for sustaining it for generations. That may mean that we need to teach this skill to other folks. That may mean that we need to let our young people know that this is something that they can do and this is a career pathway. That may mean that our entire family is in this in order to ensure that this legacy moves forward. We gotta not just plan for the goalposts, we also have to plan for the sustainability. The last piece that I want to talk about is the idea of resilience. Resilience is a practice, not a moment. Resilience is a practice, not a moment. Rising isn't a single act. It's a practice. It's not a moment. It's a way of being. Resilience is built in daily choices, habits, and rituals. Every day offers opportunity to strengthen your mind, body, and spirit. I'm going to say this again. Resilience is built on daily choices, habits, and rituals. Every day offers opportunities to strengthen your mind, body, and spirit. As many of you all know, when we closed the last season, I think our last episode was talking about the fact that my father had just been diagnosed actually a year ago in February, stage 4 colon cancer. And it has been a ride. He's doing much better. I thank the Creator and all those who have sent good energy, also just really understanding and listening to what needs to be done in order to do it. And so one of the things I know in being the primary care and health proxy for an elder or elders in general is that you have to show up even when you don't feel like showing up and understand that it's not about you, and being able to still encourage them that life can be good even in this challenge. Because many times when the pain becomes too much, they're like, that's it. And so I did everything that I could to ensure that the way in which my father shows up today, he doesn't even remember what happened a year ago. When I tell him about his progress, he literally is like, I don't even remember that. I was like, what do you mean you don't remember that? You don't remember that you weren't able to stand up without being in pain? You could barely walk. You would shuffle your feet. Barely shuffle your feet. We still keep you in wheelchairs. You couldn't raise your arms to the side. He's like, I don't remember any of that, Renee. He says, what I do remember is that every week you come and you sit with me, you do things and you shave me and you talk to me and you try to remind me of what's going on. You make sure we're on our regimen, you cook. All of these things is what I remember, and this is the experience I'm having. But he doesn't remember that self. And that only comes when we, the ones who need to show up daily. We make that choice regardless of how we're feeling. It didn't matter that I didn't get sleep. It didn't matter that I had 19 projects going on. It didn't matter that many times I'm trying to take him to his appointments and I've got 3 Zoom meetings happening. Or either while I'm there, while I'm on my way there, on our way back from there. It doesn't matter. Because for me, the top priority was ensuring that my father was well cared for. And at any given time, no one was going to pigeonhole him into he's an elder and it doesn't matter, because it matters to me. And so that resilience was built over, days and days and months of daily practice and daily choices, of figuring out how I ground myself before I go out into the world. That there are certain things that I do not do until I've done that grounding. I kid you not, I always say, you want me to talk to my peoples first before I talk to you. Because if I talk to you first, when I first wake up, and I don't take care of the things I need to take care of, the day could go left. So I'm clear about what I need to be doing. I'm clear about the choices that I make. And I know that resilience is not a moment in time. Resilience is a practice. And that is something that I learned as we crossed over from 2025 into 2026, as we are watching the cycle of 9 finally come to a close, and we see the actual rising of this cycle 1 year. That part of what I learned in this whole cycle was that resilience is a practice. So the question becomes, how do you practice resilience every day? You take a moment to reflect. You take a moment to reflect and use the reflection as a tool. It can be journaling, it can be voice notes, but really tap into who you are. Really tap into your divine essence. In January, we started the Soul Soil Collective. And so our theme for January was aligning with Ori and divine purpose. And so we looked at Ori, the divine head, divine understanding of who we are, and we looked at purpose, right? The idea of, in my spiritual practice, that Ifa helps us to make sure that we are on purpose, that we are walking in our destiny in all that we do. And so we took some time to really delve into this. And so these morning reflections, these opportunities to journal, these opportunities to meditate are times when you are with your Ori, your divine head, the spirit of you that came in this earthly body, and understanding what it needs, understanding how to ground it, understanding things that may feel uncomfortable, because as I've said before, matter matters. So if we don't take time to deal with the things that we may leave unsaid, it will find space in the body and it becomes dis-ease and disease. So we have to take time every day to make sure that we're clearing and being honest about what we're clearing the slate about, so that we're showing up not just as our best selves, but as a self that's not carrying baggage from the day before. That we've let those things ride, that we've learned our lesson, that we've said what we need to say, that we've addressed those things, because if not, it becomes disease, dis-ease in the body and in the spirit. The other thing that we practice in terms of resilience is making sure that we have some kind of self-care. Self-care is essential because self-care helps us to replenish our energy, helps us to balance out ourselves. And self-care can really be as simple as, are we drinking enough water? Are we sleeping enough? Do we need to take an extra bath at night? Do we need to take spiritual baths, when we go into certain environments? I know when I first started going into the hospital every single day for my dad's treatments, I had to take spiritual baths 3 times a week because the energy of sickness, the energy of not wellness was very strong. And so I had to do what's necessary to make sure that I could stand in that environment and it not take my energy as well. Thinking about it now, this has been a year. I think I may have gotten maybe 1 cold, if that much. So I know that it works. So thinking about your self-care, thinking about the pauses that you do, thinking about, planning in your week. Every other day I get up at, 5. I think tomorrow I'm going to get up at 8. Thinking about, am I getting enough exercise? I know I'm supposed to be doing this amount of steps, but I haven't really been doing it. And so one of the things that I've just started doing, because, the way that my schedule goes, quite honestly, I'm not always going to get 40 minutes in the gym to go walk the treadmill. But I do know I've got 20 minutes before I get in the shower. And if I think about these 20 minutes and do 50 to 100 reps of 1 or 2 or 3 combinations of exercises, I would have gotten my cardio and some of my exercise in, and I would have achieved what I need. Sometimes it's those smaller things, not the bigger things, that will allow for us to build the practice, to become resilient in our bodies, our minds, and our spirits. Community connection is so important because without community, we have no place to share, witness, and receive support, because we, as human beings that live in this ecosystem, are connected. Let me say it again, because we started off talking about the chaos, and you know what they're always trying to do? Disconnect us from our humanity. And part of our humanity is the understanding that we are community connected. This is how we are in this system. I always say to folks, because I love plants, when I start my plant lectures, what do I say? I say, I need everyone to understand that we are a part of an ecosystem. And literally, if plants die, we die. This is not I think that, we can just cut all the plants down on the planet no, we would die because we're a part of a community. We are a part of an ecosystem. That is how we work, that we are the reflection of wellness in our communities. So this is the reason why community is so important. Dr. Fukuyao taught in his self-healing of old African methodologies, he talks about the fact that everything that we do is healing, and that self-healing power exists within each and every one of us, and that at no time that someone calls themselves a healer are they actually a healer. I'm not going to call myself a healer, but someone else in community that has experienced healing because of the work that I do, they may say I'm a healer. And then you know why? Because my job is to make sure that every time I interact in community, I'm igniting their own self-healing power. It's not about me. It's about that every time we have an interaction, the resonance that you feel is a resonance that helps your nervous system to heal. That's a part of the work that community does. And so one of the things that they're doing is trying to disconnect us from community. That's our superpower. It's our superpower. And it doesn't have to be a bunch of people, but you gotta have somebody or some folks who are going to help you reflect, who are going to help to bear witness. This is something that I say in taking flower essences. As you all know, that is one of my other passions. And so the thing about flower essences are what we call vibrational medicine. They're gentle medicine. Some of them are, not all of them, but they're gentle medicine. So many times when people are taking flower essences, it's very difficult to witness yourself because while you're taking them, things are changing. The way that you're thinking and the habits that you're creating are changing. But if no one is there to hold the mirror up for you, you may think that you're the same. That's what community does. That's what having somebody in your corner or just people to witness you helps you to understand. That evolution is happening and that someone is bearing witness to it. And because you're bearing witness to it, you're then able to have an understanding about what healing is happening, what more supports you have, and you're able to vision your future and become that architect. When you say you want healing, you've got to do it in community. And unfortunately in the West, what they've taught us is, no, you go off to the side and you isolate and you talk to one therapist and that's it. That is not enough. Because that one person may not have enough experiences to understand what they're seeing, not to even talk about the biases and all of the cultural competencies and all of that stuff. So there has to be community that's going to witness you. They're going to witness your transformation. They're going to witness what's going on. And it does not mean your business is out in the street. It means that you will definitely be doing this with people that you trust. But it is a part of us cultivating resilience. That community and community connection is very important. When we think about resilience, we think about it, it's almost many times seen as, oh, they're just resilient. No. Resilience is cultivated. You don't stumble upon resilience. They didn't invent the traffic lights by just stumbling upon it. They kept asking the same question over and over and over and over again because there was something that they wanted to solve. And so they kept cultivating the ideas in their mind and thinking outside of the box until they solved the issue. That is what social entrepreneurship was. I was very, very thankful when I was in my graduate program. I was in it for nonprofit management, but I had this amazing Black professor who taught nonprofit management, but he also taught social entrepreneurship. And because in my life, I've been a part of businesses, like community businesses, Black businesses all my life, community incubators and so on and so forth, I was like, I want to take that class. Because what it helped me to understand is the way in which the world currently works on capitalism is about making the money and using other people to do the labor. But you're never really solving an issue that would actually help us to move forward in the world better. Social entrepreneurship is the idea that there is a problem that needs to be solved. My invention, my contribution is going to help solve that issue. And then it becomes open to everybody else to be able to access it. It's a different way of thinking. Not only is it a different way of thinking, it brings us back to the idea of resilience, right? That it's something that's cultivated. That in order for you to get to this space, you can't just get there by happenstance. You actually have to put certain pieces in place to continue to do that work. So I invite you to take some time to think about what are your daily rituals, practices, and supports that help you to maintain resilience in your own life. What tools are you using? What community can guide you as you rise again and again and again? I want us to take a few moments to visualize, to become the architects of connecting to divine purpose. Take a moment to close your eyes if you can. Take a deep breath in and breathe out. Breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in and breathe out. Picture yourself standing in a sacred space. Feel the earth beneath your feet, steady, supportive, unwavering. Imagine a soft golden light descending from above, warming your heart. This is your inner guidance, your ori, your inner knowing. See yourself navigating challenges with calm, clarity, and courage. Visualize your resilience in action, rising above the noise, doubt, and fear. Feel the presence of your ancestors. Call them in this moment, the one that has come to the top, to remind you that they're always there. Know that they're encouraging you, and they're encouraging you in community. Take a deep breath in and breathe out. Anchor in this feeling of purpose and strength to carry with you in your week and in your plans. So today, in this particular session, let's reflect on a couple of questions. And I want you to take the questions, write them down, whichever one kind of jumps out at you, that's the one you should journal about. Where in your life are you letting noise or doubt pull you off your path? Where in your life are you letting noise or doubt pull you off your path? How can you honor the watchful eyes of your ancestors and the lessons you teach to the next generation? How can you honor the watchful eyes of your ancestors and the lessons you teach to the next generation? What daily practice will you adopt this week to strengthen your resilience and rise with purpose? What daily practice will you adopt this week to strengthen your resilience and rise with purpose? Remember, rising isn't about perfection. It's about showing up, taking action, leaning into support, and nurturing your energy. And always remember, and still we rise. And Still We Rise by Maya Angelou. You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trod me in the very dirt, but still, like dust, I rise. Does my sassiness upset you? Why are you beset with gloom? 'Cause I walk like I've got oil wells pumping in my living room? Just like moons and like suns, with the certainty of tides, just like hope springing high, still I rise. Keep shining, keep rising, and keep being the medicine the world needs. If this message resonates, share it with someone who might need it today. And if you're ready to go deeper, connect with flower essences that support clarity, self-love, purpose through the Divine Collection, or join the Soul Soil Collective, a space for reflection, ritual, and aligned action, sign up for our newsletter.